Hi. So I was listening in this morning to another committee, and they said that there is this interdepartmental committee that includes DFAT, PM&C, Finance, DQ, and I think that's it. Does that sound right?
Roland Treese, Assistant Secretary of Climate Change Grants. I believe that's right. There may be some additional members from sort of non-policy agencies. I think there may
Sorry,
be,
can you just speak up a little?
I think there may be an ABS officer as well, Australian
ABS.
Bureau of Statistics.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. So is that the committee that is responsible for managing the bid process? Or is it more an organisational committee?
So it's if it relates to the COP31 project board that is chaired by the Department of Climate Change, Energy, Environment and Water, that is primarily focused on the operational and logistics,
right.
in preparing to host and in preparing the kind of the agenda
right.
for the meeting, more so than the logistics of the bid.
Right. So the logistics of the bid is being managed by the governance committee? Is that what it's called?
So not the project board, which is the one with the membership that you were referring to. So
right.
the resolution of the bid is primarily handled between the Department of Climate Change, Energy, Environment and Water and the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, depending on the aspect.
Right. So what aspect then is PM&C involved in?
So we're involved in sort of the ordinary course of our oversight of activity across government.
Right. So no responsibility for the bid itself?
The bid is with DQ, DFAT and, and ministers.
Right. Okay.
DQ being Department of
yes.
Climate Change, Energy and Water.
Yes, I know. I can never remember it either. Okay. So I'm still not entirely clear on what PM&C's role is in either the organisation of the logistics of hosting a COP or the bid itself.
So in relation to the governance or the project board, which we referred to earlier, we're there as one of a number of departments who will have a role in relation to organising or in our element sort of playing a coordinating role across government. But
right.
that board is chaired by the Department of Climate Change, Energy, Environment and Water. There are other representatives from central agencies and portfolio agencies who have responsibilities or interests in the event and the organisation and the preparations for hosting. In relation to the bid logistics, again, that's primarily led by the Department of Climate Change or the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, depending on the nature of the engagement.
So what's the Prime Minister's role in supporting the bid for COP?
So, I mean, it's a whole of government commitment. And so in that capacity, the Prime Minister and his cabinet and the government remains committed to the bid.
But yes, I mean, we're all committed, but what is the role? I mean, obviously, Minister Bowen announced that we were going to bid for COP in late 2022.
With the Prime Minister.
With the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
So what's the Prime Minister's role? Does he, every time he goes to an international forum of some sort, have the bid on the agenda?
Yeah.
How does that work?
So I suppose the list of things we raise at either my level, Chris's level, Minister Bowen's level or Prime Minister's level with counterparts includes, pretty much as a matter of course, our bid to host a Pacific COP. Obviously, the first reason we want to host a COP is to draw attention to the existential threat the Pacific faces from climate. So that is something we, at principals level, ministerial level, put to counterparts at various bilateral and multilateral events.
I suppose I know why you want to host it, but what's the Prime Minister doing? How does it work?
Well, currently, and this is probably something that the negotiations are proceeding as Mr. Treese, sorry, couldn't have said that the wrong way, said through my department and Mr. Bowen's department.
Right. So what does the Prime Minister do?
Well, the negotiations are proceeding through my department and Mr Bowen's department.
Right. So the Prime Minister doesn't have anything to do with...
No. I mean, obviously as a leader, it's something you would have seen in a number of what you may have seen. This is something he would press with others, but the diplomatic negotiations are with the Q and DFAT.
So can I just...
That's not unusual.
Can I just be clear then? PM&C is not working on the bid itself?
Not directly, Senator,
Right.
just in concert with those agencies referenced earlier.
Right. Okay.
And that's primarily because we're the ones with international engagement.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's not working. We haven't got it yet.
Well, I didn't know you were such a supporter.
I am, absolutely. I've been a vociferous
I thought the coalition
supporter.
were not supportive of
No, I'm very supportive. I'm very supportive.
Well, I'm glad
of
you are. I suspect your lead, well, certainly the previous leader was not, said it was a monumental waste. Yeah, well, obviously Turkey is proving much more... is also wanting to host the COP and has not relinquished that position. So,
I have some more questions about Turkey's position, but I won't necessarily ask them here. That impasse with Turkey, is that something, though, that this desk can provide an update?
that would be
on?
I would ask. You can ask me and my department in the context of
All right.
DFAT estimates.
So
I'm happy to provide an update on that.
the logistics is where PM&C come in then, if that's the case.
So not directly, Senator. That's largely run by the Department of Climate Change, Energy, Environment and Water. So they have the operational oversight for preparations and hosting should the bid be successful.
Right. If the Prime Minister is the leader on this and was the one that came out and announced it, why isn't PM&C playing a bigger role here, a more prominent role to get this bid up?
I think PM&C is an excellent department, but it is not their job. The internationally engaged or internationally focused departments on this are DFAT and DQ.
Right.
Because it fundamentally is about those negotiations.
So when the bid was announced, did anyone in the department think, gosh, this is going to take a lot of work, perhaps we should focus some more resources on it to deliver it for the Prime Minister, or is that not part of your remit?
I don't think this is an issue of more public servants in PM&C. This is an issue of two nations with different views about who should host the COP.
So
Very simple.
obviously then PM&C's role in this task force, the project board I should say. So how often does the project board meet?
It's met, I think, probably less than 5 times would be my recollection. I'm certainly happy to take that on notice.
Since 2022?
No, it was convened sometime after that. I'd need to check the specific commissioning of that.
Right. And does those project board meetings have agendas and communiques that come out afterwards?
It's an internal governance board to government, so they do have a formal agenda, terms of reference, and the sort of documentation that you would expect, not communiques per se, but meeting minutes.
Right. Are those documents on notice? Could they be tabled, please?
I would need to check that, just depending on the nature of the content that they transact.
Okay.
Yep.
Agenda and anything else that could be provided would be very helpful. Thank you. All right. And are the South Australian or New South Wales governments involved in that project board?
I will need to check. Not to date is my recollection. I would need to check about the current status of that, Senator.
If you could, and come back to me, thank you, that would be good. All right. How do you work on the contingencies on this? I mean, does the project board have to consider whether we are going to share hosting COP with Turkey? Does it have to consider other cities in which, if we do host it, COP, there will have to be other meetings because the airport apparently isn't big enough in South Australia, or all of those sorts of things. Is that what you're working on?
Seriously.
So those sorts of operational questions, I think, would be best directed to the Department of Climate Change, Energy, Environment
Jane
and
Hume
Water.
doesn't like Adelaide.
No, I love
Well,
Adelaide.
there
It's
you
just,
go.
and I'm very, very
Massive
pleased,
Victorian.
related to all my previous questions, that if we do host a COP in Adelaide, it will be where all the uranium is for all that nuclear energy.
We're just swapping ministers at the table. Jenny McAllister,
That's fine.
step in.
At any stage over the last 3 years since the government announced the bid would be happening, has the Department of PMC raised any concerns that either the bid is undercooked or the preparations are undercooked, and that COP26 is just around the COP31 held in 26 is just around the corner, and that we seem to be very unprepared?
In terms of our advice to government, Senator?
Have you prepared any advice to government saying that we really need to get this done, get this bid done in order to be prepared for something that is supposed to be occurring in a year's time?
It's not our practice to reveal the contents of our advice to government, Senator.
It must be very hard to organise something of this scale with only a year to go. Apparently there were 80,000 people that turned up to COP in Dubai. Is Adelaide, do you think, prepared for that? Is Australia ready for that? Is the department ready for that?
In terms of the preparations, that's really a question for DQ.
Okay, so your role on the project board isn't necessarily logistics then?
So DQ are the primary lead agency for operation and logistics and the hosting arrangements, including the arrangements to do with Adelaide. Yes.
Okay, I will ask questions for DQ. Thank you.
And Senator Hume, I'll just say that South Australia is very excited. And
I'm very excited for South
We'd be
Australia.
delighted to see that when it all kicks
Just got to win the bid.
That's it. Senator Patterson.
Thank you.